Welcome back, students, as we prepare for another episode of TC Graduates. I am one of your hosts, your Dr. Recommended Dose of Nerdiness, aka your nerd today, Carlos Rodriguez. If you hear anything in the back, that is my cat, Jonathan, for whatever reason, throwing a hissy fit. I don't know why. He's just being weird. It's not 3 o'clock in the morning. He's not supposed to be doing that. But besides Jonathan, we have my teacher in crime, Sly. Sly, how are you?
I'm doing great. I have new artwork behind me. It will be hidden behind my chair forever, but it's there, just so you know. Get the full tour. I'm doing great. I finally hung up all but one piece of artwork in my entire apartment. I've been watching some TV shows, which is new for me. I read at least all the trade paperbacks of the 2022 Poison Ivy run. It's incredible. Highly recommend. I think a guest on the show recommended it a while back. So shout out to you. Appreciate you.
I think
It was
Troy,
great.
right? Troy was saying it, right?
Was it Troy? I
wanna
don't know.
say it
We've
was
had
Troy.
a lot of guests. They've all been
We have.
amazing. But yeah, we're here to talk about a movie that I definitely didn't remember like an hour or so before the draft tonight that I had to watch 2 movies, and then frantically did that instead of watching the draft. It's fine.
It's always like the slightly disappointing thing. We're like, wait, wasn't it that son of a bitch? That was
I'm
me.
like, I'm gonna go to the bar. They're doing a watch party. I'm gonna hang out. We're gonna watch the draft. Oh fuck! I'm recording tonight.
Yeah, that was me. That was me Friday night. I was like, ooh, I'm good. I feel like I could just do whatever I want. I was like, I watched the baseball game, and then I was hanging out with my niece, and then I was showing her how to emulate games. I didn't say that out loud. And then we played some Bratz. No, for context, my niece, not a small child. She's 25, like 23, whatever.
So
So
some games, it's the only way you can play them.
yeah,
You know?
but
Would you rather people appreciate your art and emulate them, or never get to experience your art ever again?
That's true. That's very true. She
Just
was
saying.
so excited to play this game again, full ass adult.
Yeah.
And she could have gone home too. By the way, she could have gone home, hung out with her boyfriend, went out to a bar. She decided to stay here, garden with my wife, and the next day and play Bratz. I forget,
That
Rockstar
sounds
Dreams.
like a great day.
She had a great time, and then I was slowly realizing, because like I said, I think I've said it on the show before, I met them later in life. I was slowly realizing, hey, you would have made me play the shit out of this game, wouldn't you have? As a kid, she's like, yo, yeah, this is all I played. I was like, oh god.
Yeah.
So I did play about 15 minutes about it. Wow, those you know what? Honestly, I get the game aspect, especially a lot of licensed games, and like of course I think we talked about this before on Pip when we were talking about Terabytes, our review for that horror documentary series we did. Man, licensed games suck so many times, but like you could see that this should have been better. Like this game should have been better. Like as I was playing it, I was like, these controls suck.
Games, we're on such a tangent. It's fine. We'll get to the actual show in a minute. But I recently downloaded Avatar Realms Collide. Is
that the mobile
and
game?
It's not good.
Oh man. No.
It is a mobile game. It's free. I did, however, think like way too many hours into it last night when I should have been sleeping. Like maybe like 6 hours.
Oh my
just
god.
Straight playing this game. It's not good. I'm gonna start there. Like I don't recommend this. However, it sucked me in and I'm hooked. So, you know.
Listen, I know this is a DC podcast and we talk about animated movies, but comment down below or send us a blue sky message or whatever. What is there a good Avatar game? Because now I'm 2 episodes to the end of the original series. This is my first time ever watching it. I love it. I understand the hype. Like I'm so
excited.
And
I'm gonna watch Korra next.
I think I'm gonna give myself a little bit of a break. So if anything, I
give
will
yourself some breather room.
Only because I got this woman just breathing down my neck. And this is great because she doesn't watch the show. Her name's Brianna, my best friend. And she's just breathing down my neck because she's caught up with One Piece. And she looks at me like I'm a fake. And she's like, you have a tattoo.
Yeah.
of One Piece, and you'll make all these One Piece jokes. Are you caught up? I'm like, no, I'm on episode 780 something of 1120 or something. Mind
Yeah.
you, I have kids. She doesn't have kids. She's a dog that's very like nice and like doesn't want to do stuff sometimes like she does. So perfect. And you know what? She's not caught up either. I'm gonna call her out right now. As of this recording, she's not caught up. She's got a couple episodes she needs to watch. And guess what? I have watched all the movies and specials leading up to where I am in the series. I found ways on the internet, just like I did for this movie, Teen Titans, The Judas Contract 2017. That's a good segue into these episodes.
That is. We love you. Come on the show. No disrespect.
I don't know if she'll ever do a podcast. She loves them and she supports. Oh, dude, I've been. I'm like, hey man, why don't we talk? It was like leading up to Supernatural series finale, or it was like a year after. I was like, why don't we do like a retrospective on like the series finale? And she's like, yeah, and I know her face. It's definitely like, oh yeah, yep,
sure, yeah.
Again, calling her out. Happened the other day. We're taking this long trip, me and her, because we're gonna go see our other best friend Susan, who's having a baby. So we're going to baby shower, and it's co-ed, which is all. I'm excited. So beforehand, all this stuff was supposed to matter. She was supposed to drive. Change of plans. I'm like, oh, I can drive to your house anyway. Do you want me to just drive all the way up to? It's 20 minutes outside of New York City. I was like, do you want me to do that? And she's like, nah, it's up to you. It's up to you. I was like, I know that answer from you. We've been friends for a very long time. So I will drive.
That
she's
means
like,
you doing it.
Yeah. So I was like, she's like, I said I don't mind, but I really do. Actually, but thank you for driving. I was like, yeah, you're welcome. So my plan is to get her on some kind of podcast, but I don't know about her. We'll see.
Maybe by season 5. We'll get her.
I'll text her now and be like, yeah, you got to be on the show. You have no choice. Well, no, I can't do that. I already know her. She's so defiant. She's such a defiant person, too. Like, if you tell you have to, she won't.
Oh.
But I got to play.
How does she feel about fan fiction? Is this the one that's a fan of fan fiction?
Yeah. Yeah, maybe.
Okay. We could get her on the bonus episode where I'm going to force you to read fan fiction.
She did like the idea that.
And then we could just make fun of you.
Yeah. You know what? This actually might work. Okay. All right. I got to play my cards right, though. I got to play my cards right. It's like diffusing a bomb. Like if I touch the wrong wire, we lost her. We're dead.
I feel it. I'm the same way.
I surround my life around defiant, like, people in my life, and no, it's just chill. And the chill people have like bad schedules.
Of defiance.
Yeah, us not getting to this episode. That's what we're getting. It's a good one too, because we're talking about, again, 2017's Teen Titans, the Judas Contract. So let's talk about this for 1 second, because this is one of the first movies where we do get Bat Family members, but like nobody outside, like no Batman even at all, just forced in here. Like I thought we were going to see it for a second.
Dick and Damian.
Yeah, that's it. It's amazing, dude. It is such a, again, no shitting on Jason O'Mara. He's absolutely phenomenal so far in this series. And like, I love him as Batman. He's a great Batman. He really is. His depiction of Batman, their depiction in the series whatsoever. But it is just a nice change of pace of just not having Batman. Again, I love Batman. But we talked about this before. The Bat Family, way more interesting. So we get 2 Bat Family members and the rest of the Teen Titans of Blue Beetle, who we love, Beast Boy, who we love, Starfire, who we love, Raven, who we love, and Terra.
Batman's been in all 8 episodes so far this season. Every single one of them. We have not had a break from this man. Like other seasons, we'd at least get like a one-off, like a Superman or a Wonder Woman or a Green Lantern or whatever. This has just been straight up Batman and or Justice League. That's it. No
and
exceptions.
even when you do Justice League Dark, right? We get 2 lines from like Jon Stewart, who's introduced for the first time in this universe. We get a little bit of Superman and Wonder Woman, and then it's like all Batman and Friends. It's like Batman and Friends again, which Brave and the Bold is a great series. It's like, but like when you're not expecting it, this is a DC universe, Like, there's a
Right.
lot. What are you doing? Why? This is why Gotham's
They're
so
really
shitty.
leaning into the detective comics of it all.
Oh my god, yeah. But this is why Gotham's so shitty. You're never home. Just stay
Mhm.
home a little bit. You
Yeah.
claim I'm not a team player. Motherfucker, I've seen you in every one of these movies.
You're leading all of the teams.
Yeah, I
Take a
need you to
fucking break.
chill. Yeah.
Take a single day off.
Yeah. That Zatanna can lead the Justice League Dark. Superman can lead the league itself. And then you can come in and be like lead other days. Like, thank God. I was waiting for him to pop up as some like Deus Ex Machina in this fucking movie, and he didn't. Thank God. But this is my first time seeing this movie. How about you, Sly? Was this your first time, or you seen this before?
Yeah, I had not seen this before. I think we're starting to hit the time where I had kind of tapped out of feeling obligated to be tuned into all of the things that were happening. And I was kind of leaning into just like watching things that I actually enjoyed. And while I really enjoyed, so much of the DC AMU, I had gotten a little fatigued with it, and then I had just tuned out. So I think it's not until we get into our Elseworlds series, our last like
Mm.
currently designated series of this show, that we'll get back to things that aren't new to me. Everything up until then should be new.
Yeah, I mean, this was my first time. This is one I wanted to seek out because this was rumored for a while, and I know that that's a trivia from IMDb that this was initially supposed to be in our, I guess this would have been Origins season. Like, it was meant for those kind of
Hmm.
movies where you got like Return to Batman or Death of Batman and all this other stuff. Or I'm sorry, Death of Superman, and things like that. But this was supposed to be one of those movies because it's supposed to be a one-off. I'm sorry, Teen Titans. See, we have so many goddamn Justice League movies that I kept going there. It's supposed to be just a one-off Teen Titans movie where they just adapt one of the pivotal storylines of Teen Titans history, the Judas contract. And then if it did good, they were going to do more, but it just never fell through, and so they finally were able to adapt it into the DC AMU and do an adaptation of the storyline. This one's directed by Sam Liu, who is just pulling heavy duty in this whole
Yeah,
goddamn
he's
series.
like the linchpin of
Exactly. And I think that
like
helps too when you have,
98% of them.
pardon
Yeah,
me, when you
common
have,
vision.
yeah, you have a common vision, you have a common art style, you have everything that goes with it. It's really well
Mhm.
done. Ernie Outbacker is the writer for this one. Studios WB Animation. Stars Stuart Allen, Jake T. Austin, Taisa
Now I have to
Farmiga.
stop you there. Because
Yes.
I opened up the stock and he filled out the history section for me, which was great. But I looked at that and I realized that so many things in my life lately have had the man I like to refer to as replacement Jake T. Austin pop up in them. And I realized I saw this and I was like, oh my god, it's the original Jake T. Austin. And I realized I no longer know what that man looks like, because when I think of Jake T. Austin, I think of fucking Noah, Centina,
Oh, Noah
whatever the fuck his
Centineo.
name is. Thank you. Who I only call replacement Jake T. Austin.
Yeah, Noah, I think is a good, at least from Jake's like photos, looks like a good 18 feet taller.
Yeah,
Noah Centineo is
well,
fucking dumb tall for some reason.
there was this little show called The Fosters where
Uh,
Jake T. Austin played the son, and then he just kind of disappeared and then showed up a couple episodes later as the replacement Jake T. Austin.
oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. Wait, also,
He looked nothing alike. And I was
so
like, who the fuck is this?
I'm looking. Holy shit! I'm looking at the his IMDb. The Wizards of Waverly
Uh-huh.
Place is on there. Hotel for Dogs, Emoji Movie, stuff like that. Foster's is listed on there. I remember
Uh-huh.
seeing ads. This is what Freeform ABC Family show, right?
Yeah, it was freeform at the time.
Oh, okay. So seeing that, um, I don't know why this makes me angry. I know the premise is about a foster family, correct? And their foster
Yeah.
kids. The last name of the family is Foster as well.
Uh-huh.
That is the dumbest motherfucking thing ever. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So it's the Fosters.
God damn it. All right.
It has what's her face? The blonde one. She was in a really good independent short film, like in mid series, that played at the International Film Festival near me. That was freaking incredible. She's amazing. This is enough talk about the Fosters. We're here to talk about these two movies.
Teen Titans and JT Austin, who plays Blue Beetle in this. Reprising his role. He's really good, Blue Beetle. We have, as I mentioned, Tyson Formiga coming back as Raven, Shawn Mayer as Nightwing, Christina Ricci as Terra, Brandon Suhu as Beast Boy, Kari Walgreen as Starfire, Miguel Ferrer, rest in peace, his final performance as Slade Wilson himself. It's a shame this is how he goes out. Only because of Slade.
Great performance, horrible story.
Yeah. And Greg Henry, who I'm a big fan of. He's in Slither and a bunch of stuff. He's Brother Blood in this. And good voice. Like I did not recognize. I've watched Slither and stuff like that, and did not recognize him at all in this. I was like, wait, who the hell? Like Greg Henry? Wait, really? He's in Guardians of the Galaxy. I believe he's what's the name? Peter's grandfather in that. So he's like a big James Gunn fan. Like, you might see him soon. Oh, funny enough, he's in Creature Commandos. There we go.
Oh, so we already saw him.
Yeah, we did. Edward Mazuski. That makes sense. Oh, I think he's the racist guy that GI Robot kills.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
That's the one thing about James Gunn. If he loves you and you're a friend of his, something horrible is going to happen to you in a movie or a game or whatever it may be. Yeah, man. It seems like that. There's a couple people like that. They're like, ooh, it's like, I love this person so much. I'm going to put him on my show and make him do the worst thing possible. Shout out to the boys. Now, Sly, where is the streaming?
On the totally legal website you sent me.
Yeah.
Nowhere else.
No, nowhere else. Why would it?
Fine.
Why would it be? You know what? Max might not even have the money after they're getting sued today. After that lawsuit came out today. Right. Who knows? Who knows? Again, fuck David Zaslav. Fuck David Zaslav. Yeah. God damn it, you're the worst, man. Sly, hit us with that plot recap.
Okay, I have to start with the one that made me laugh. A group of teen superheroes grow up together, fighting evil in their city. What the fuck is that? That tells you literally nothing.
It's like the beginning of a song.
It doesn't even tell you what Teen Titans are in it. Okay, I'll give you the real one now. Led by Starfire, the Teen Titans, Beast Boy, Raven, Blue Beetle, Robin, and the just-returned Nightwing have built a cohesive team in their never-ending battle against evil. But their newest teammate, the mysterious and powerful Terra, might be altering that dynamic. Meanwhile, an ancient evil, Brother Blood, has awakened, and familiar foe Deathstroke is lurking in the shadows, both waiting to pounce. Ultimately, the Teen Titans will need to battle their enemies and their own internal doubts to come together and overcome the malicious forces around them in this twisting tale of intrigue, adventure, and deception.
Yep, absolutely.
That was so dramatic and for
I know. That's great. I don't know why. I love that one way more than obviously the beginning lyrics of like the remix version of Puffy Amiyumi's like Teen Titans song. Sly, hit us with those comic book characters.
We already mentioned most of them, but we got Robin, we got Blue Beetle, Raven, Nightwing, Terra, Beast Boy, Starfire, Deathstroke, Brother Blood, my boy, Speedy, Bumblebee, and Kid Flash.
Dude, I think
I screamed.
I know you did. I know. I didn't even put a note, but I knew. I was like, I was like, man, Flash freaked the fuck out. The second Roy popped up. Also
Roy
played
Harper, my
by,
beloved.
yeah, he played by the same voice actor that plays Roy in Young Justice, which was like a cool little thing.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. And he looks different enough. Like the art styles are very similar, Young Justice and the DCAMU. So they did a good job of separating him a little bit. I like the hoodie look. He has the little S, got the little
Yeah.
S lapel. I really love Wally's costume in this when he popped up.
Yeah,
I was
Wally
like, oh,
looked
what a cool
great.
costume. Yeah. I was like, damn, now I want Wally. Like, I don't want Barry. Now you showed me Barry, and I know Wally's old enough. Like, unless he died in the Speed Force, I don't want to see Barry anymore. No offense. Again,
Yeah.
Wally's way more interesting than Barry. Um,
Also, shout out to my girl Bumblebee. That was
every
exciting.
every time I see her, I get really excited. I get super
Yeah.
excited. I heard my daughter watching Teen Titans Go, and she was like watching the clip, and Bumblebee was in it. I like jumped. I was like, hey, Bumblebee. Like, this is
Hello.
great.
I really liked her season of um Teen Titans, the like
Yeah.
2005.
Her and Cyborg's little thing was cute. I thought that was really cute.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on to the Andrea Romano roundup again as we shout
Do we
out our
have
voice
to?
director queen. Fortunately we have to because that's the fucking crux of this goddamn movie.
Okay, that's fine.
I have dubbed this section. I guess we're doing this. Fuck this version of Slade. God damn it.
Here's the thing. Do we know if they actually slept together?
I'm under the impression they did not. That he was stringing that
Yeah.
along though. He
was
was using
stringing
it.
it along. He
Yeah.
was manipulating her. He was like pretending to seduce her or whatever, and she was fully convinced that they were in love. I don't think they actually slept together. Thank God.
Thank God.
Although she did make a couple comments that made it sound like they did, but everything he said made it feel like they did it. Anyways, the point of this is, any way you slice it, it's gross and creepy and problematic.
Mhm.
Fuck that, dude. Fuck it. And here's the thing about Slade Wilson, is like, if you ignore this part of his character, he's a really cool character.
He's an awesome
He's
bad
so
guy.
cool. And we've
Yeah.
talked about him so many times, how much we like really love how nuanced you can get with this character. But every time you think about him too hard, you remember about his weird, creepy thing with Terra.
Yeah, because when you have, I remember it too because I don't know why, but my brain just didn't like. I knew about the storyline. This storyline specifically happens in the Judas contract. You find out this member you've seen for a while, Terra, is a mole. This is also the one where Dick becomes Nightwing in the comic books. And this is again a really good piece of comic book media, but at the same token, one of the most problematic and worst parts of comic books. You know, it is because you have it's I've mentioned this before. This is a good comparison. I've said this before. I love Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm a big horror fan. That was one of my first introductions to horror at a super young age. It scared the shit out of me too much. And now as an adult, I've revisited it. And I'm like, wow, these movies are great, you know, for the most part. They're fun. Freddy's an awesome bad guy and stuff like that. But he's very creepy toward kids. He likes to mess with his prey, basically, right? He's like Scar.
He's taunting them.
Yeah, he's taunting them as he's trying to kill them. He doesn't want to. He plays with his food basically before he murders them. And so he'll do like creepy shit to like the teenagers, right? Like Nancy in the very first movie when she's trying to call Johnny Depp up before trying to see if he's died. And then he's like, no, I got your boyfriend now, bitch, or whatever. And then he like turns the phone bottom to like his tongue and like licks her mouth a little bit, or like right here. But it's not. All right, yes, she's a teenager, but like in my head, he's like, oh, he's just trying to put her off so he can
He's trying to be psycho. He's not trying to be pedo.
And then, so he's a child murderer, right? Again, I'm not justifying this, but he's a murderer. That's it.
Yeah.
Full stop.
That's the line. You know, everybody has to have their boundaries.
Yeah.
Everybody has to have their lines. And if you draw the line at murder, fine.
Yeah. Flashback to Michael Bay's company, Platinum Dunes, is doing a bunch of these horror reboots because like New Line or Warner Brothers has a bunch of the licenses at the time. So they do Texas Chainsaw Massacre that does really well in the theaters. A little more gory than the original was, and it has like it's pretty good. Friday the 13th, fucking amazing. Literally adapts the first three movies. It has the perfect combination of like blood, sex, and like rock and roll that you would want from like Friday the 13th. Then you get to Nightmare on Elm Street, and you get Jackie Earle Haley, who does an inevitable job, right? Because Freddy's like one of the few slashers that talks, it has a
Right.
personality.
You have to be
So he has to
yeah.
he has to follow up Robert Englund, who is Freddy. He does a good spin on it. Most of the movie through, I'm like, not really feeling this. I'm watching it, I think, with my friend Joey at the time. I'm like, I'm not really feeling this. Like, there's something just feels off. It's a little too much CGI. Camera just feels too. It feels like it's taking itself ever so slightly too serious. Even though the first movie, it has a little bit of a serious tone. He just plays around, and it kind of makes it a little more fun to watch. And then you get to the crux at the end of the movie, and he tells Nancy, "Oh, you were my favorite plaything." And immediately I pause the movie and I look at Joey and I'm like, did he just fucking say what I think he said? He's like, yeah. I was like, fuck this movie. That's the line, dude. He's trying to kill these kids. That's one thing. But now he's not even looking for revenge in this movie against the parents. He wants them again to do this again. Now I'm like, no, you have destroyed this character who's been really weird and really creepy toward kids, but never has crossed this line. Now you get Slade,
Right.
who's this awesome fucking mercenary. He's so cool as a mercenary, like his costume, everything like that. That fucking Rob Liefeld and all, when they were coming up with a character and wanted to be like a parody, wanted to have fun, they created Wade Wilson instead of Slade Wilson. And like he's super, he's like pretends to be super serious and all this stuff, and he's like really funny. He's just a great like parody of Slade. But that's how much you could tell like they love Slade. Iconic character. But this storyline completely just shatters anything. And so many adaptations of stuff with Deathstroke. This is a great storyline, and this should be done, but you gotta cut this part out. This part, it should have flied back in the 80s. Don't know how it did. I don't like, I would love to, I want like a retrospective that is like very non-biased. Because anytime we hear retrospectives of this story, it is coming from the lens of someone from DC. Like, oh man, Marv Wolfman and George Perez, like they created this, amazing storyline. And yes, that is true. What also could be
The
true
bones
is,
of the story are great.
yeah,
However, like this one aspect just like completely detracts from the incredible storytelling. Like when you look at this movie and the way it's structured, it almost feels like the entire crux of this movie is this relationship, which is objectively the worst part of it. And so you have this incredible storyline. You have this really interesting cult doing really cool things that I'm like, I want to know more about. I want to spend time with Brother Blood and all his crazies. But instead, we're seeing it through like Terra being the one to infiltrate the Teen Titans, and she's doing it all because then like Slade will love her and they could be together. And that is the part that like immediately I'm tuning out. Like if you are structured, and this is 2017, we're post Me Too. Like we are so firmly in the current like era of the mindset of our current culture that it's not even like looking back and saying, wow, I can't believe this was acceptable then. It's looking at it and going, wow, I can't believe this is still acceptable now. Because you can do this storyline and you can do it very well and you can remove or omit this part of their relationship.
Yeah, I
Speaking of
thought,
the Teen Titans show, like
yeah, that gave you the fucking blueprint right there.
it gave you literally I mean, I think it's the best version of that storyline that we can get. And admittedly, I haven't seen many adaptations of the storyline, But I was really disappointed that they went that route with the storyline when we have an incredible example of how you can do the story perfectly without bringing that element into play.
Yeah, and I thought there's a moment in this movie where you see um Tara opening up. Like you tell she has
Mm-hmm.
issues. She's like sleeping and things like that, and she has nightmares.
There's the
So
nightmares and
yeah,
yeah.
you see that leading up, and you see kind of like the slow reveal of like what happened to her. In Markovia, they tried to kill her. She doesn't have the princess aspect of her storyline. Also, I believe Young Justice actually did a really good job of this as well. I think she's in this, and she's a really
Yeah.
good like way. I don't really think I think she's just a normal person at this point in this show. I think her not being like cool with the Titans right now is because Beast Boy became addicted to sleeping pills at one point in like the later like the Max seasons. But
Wild.
yeah, I know. That's what happens, man. When you don't have to be TV PG. We could be TV, PG-13.
Right.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
there is,
Also
ever so slightly, yeah, right. Um, you have this build up, and you see like the townsfolk in Makovia like chasing her down, calling her a witch and all this other shit, and trying to kill her because she has power as a demon and all this other stuff. And then you had the reveal that Deathstroke saved her from the crowd, killed the right before she died. They sliced the dude's head off. And I think maybe shot one other person. Was like, who else wants this? I'll fucking kill you right now.
right.
And in my head, immediately, I don't know if I wrote it down. I was like, oh, this is how we're going to do this. This is the storyline.
Mhm.
This is why she's like infatuated with like, and even from
Right.
that aspect, I'm not condoning it. You could save this even if she like there's a point of no return in this story in this movie specifically where she walks in on the lingerie and the overdone blush and everything similar to what she does in the Judas
Mm-hmm.
contract. But she's just not smoking for whatever reason. That was like probably a bridge too far for Warner Brothers. Like, yeah, you can't smoke. Um,
Right.
but you get so far, and then she puts her arms around him, and then he rebukes her right there. And then I was like, oh my god, they did it. We got to like the tipping point. We looked at the abyss and said, nah, we're gonna turn back around. This is perfect. I'm like, okay, still creepy from her aspect, but like again, you
And
can see it.
yeah, I think my problem with this movie is there was so much potential to, if you wanted to include this in the storyline, there's a way to do it. And I think it's very clear that they almost had it.
Mhm.
And they just, for whatever reason, it just didn't become fully realized. You can have the story of this unrequited, like, obsession
Mhm.
even with him, where it is very clear that he has rebuked every advancement at every stage. That's not what we have here. We have him actively encouraging it because he knows he can manipulate her to do his bidding. But you could play the story almost exactly the same way. Have her over the top infatuation, have her obsession with him, have her delusional thinking that, he saved me, we're in love, we're gonna be together. That's okay. Like, you can do that, but you have to be very clear that at every single advancement he has rebuked her. At every
Mhm.
single advancement he has turned her down. That's not what we get. We get him actively encouraging it. And that's where the line is, at least to me.
Yeah.
I think like it is so easy to do the storyline without any aspect of their relationship. Like, in that regard, you can do it. It can be done. It has been done. But also, if you want to reinvent this storyline, reclaim it for this this story concept, there are ways to do it. And in 2017, we knew better. Maybe not in the 80s, the people in power didn't. Okay, fine. But in 2017, my
Yeah.
friends,
No.
we had known better for a while.
Yeah. Exactly. And my notes specifically from this part of the movie was hold on, I have it right here. Oh fucking gross, and that's her walking in with the lingerie on and the overdone makeup. And then my next note is maybe Slade is like, hey, you can help me in this mission, but not in a weird way. Because she puts her arms and he immediately dismisses her. But then he realizes, at least Slade in this movie realizes, hey, I can't push her away this far. Let me give her, and I said, so he's manipulating her by dangling the carrot stick, the stick with the carrot of being together down the line. And I was like, and my note before that was nope, ... which is straight up no. This is fucking gross. And again, they don't do anything in this version. They don't physically do anything other than again, when you look back at this storyline, even like other comics that talk about this time period for the Titans and Terra specifically, and this is like 2005, 2003, 2004, they show them actively kissing and stuff like that. And I think they were like, oh, she's 18 or whatever. Like, it doesn't matter. There's a power dynamic and it's just gross.
It's legal doesn't mean it's morally right.
Yeah. And this takes away so much of Slade's character. It's a goddamn shame because he is one of the coolest villains ever. And I remember my nephew Sam, he loves comic books, loves them completely to death, but he's way younger than me, so he knew of the storyline and its importance, loves the Teen Titans cartoon growing up. He's like your age and stuff, so like you guys are very close in age, and like that was like you for like, even for me, I mean, I was older, I didn't give a shit. I was like, Teen Titans, I'm down, man. I'll stay in on a Saturday, I don't care, go fucking with.
No, Teen Titans is like
it's so good,
my childhood.
Yeah, so I remember him messaged me like a couple years ago. He was scrolling on TikTok randomly on his FYP was this like breakdown of storylines, and it was talking about how Slade's one of the fucking grossest characters. So he stopped because like Slade's one of his favorite villains, In more recent histories, they kind of portray him as like an anti-hero, for the most part. And he's just bad shit when they give him enough money.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then he would stop, and then I get a message on my phone, yo, when you're done work, call me. I was like, okay, this is weird. And he's like, I sent you a TikTok, watch that before you call me. So I watched it. I'm like, yeah, and I knew about this. And he's like, Theo, what the fuck? I was like, yeah, this is a thing, man. He's like, I never knew, because now they try to bury it for the most part, like that this didn't happen.
They do.
I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm cool with it too. We got it. If you reboot a universe, reboot this shit the hell out of here. Like, take this with it.
Absolutely. I don't want to hear. Yeah.
I don't
but
want
we
it.
can't ignore the fact that it was a part, like a fundamental part of the character they created in previous universes.
Yeah, absolutely. And the same goes with like a lot of the aspects that we talked about, previously in the Killing Joke, because this is, again, of its ilk of that time, Alan Moore and Brian Boland's story, that was very controversial for at the time. Again, it's implied that James and Barbara are assaulted by the Joker, both physically and mentally. And we're not talking about beating them up. We're talking about the other way. This is around this, almost around the same time ish. This is late 80s. And again, not saying anything, like I've met Marv Wolfman. He's a very lovely gentleman. I thank him very much for creating Nightwing, because it was like, transitioning Dick from Robin to Nightwing and like bringing that character to a more adult thing, because a big inspiration for me. And I showed him my tattoo, and and it was a great moment for me. It was one of my like top 10 moments ever. But that doesn't take away from the fact that this dude wrote that storyline too. Like, that storyline is like 90% amazing, and then this 10% is just a bad taste. It's quick, but it's a bad taste in your mouth. Like, manipulating her, if it was just, hey, this man saved me, I can't betray him, even though he might be doing something morally. I'm down, but now I've made friends. Interesting storyline. Great storyline there.
The internal conflict of, my goal was to infiltrate and take down this group, and now I've made friends and I've connected with them, and what does that mean for my mission, and what does that say about me as a person and my place in this world? That's an interesting conflict.
Yep. I mean, again, it plays out so well in Teen Titans, the cartoon. And then you get then you go a little step further, because again, it's PG-13 and we're trying to stay true to some of the comics. Okay. Terra walks in and she's in the lingerie and the overdone makeup. Okay. Where are we going with this? And again, they don't
Right.
jump the shark. They don't go into the abyss, but they get too close that this becomes uncomfortable. The fact that
Fucking
he's playing
Icarus in the
along.
sun, my dude.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You still get too close, even with him not doing anything physical with her. The fact that he's manipulated her in this aspect, using sexuality as a form of power against her, is fucking gross. It completely undermines his character. Like, dude, like, then you see Slade, like, oh, God. Like, give me the Manu Bennett version of Slade from Arrow.
Yeah.
You know? Give me
Absolutely.
S.I. Morales version of Titans, like fucking
Yeah.
Slade. Let him be the biggest piece of shit father. He could beat his son. He could hate that he's gay. He could dead name him, do all that horrible shit that happens in real world because he's a villain, right? This is the
Yeah.
line you don't cross, man. Even though the other shit, we could have discussions and be like, hey, that's not a cool, and I get what they're trying to say. He's a villain. You know, if they did that stuff.
Mhm.
Don't do this. Just don't do this. This is the worst. This is the worst. Make him say the N-word. Dude said horrible. Just don't do this. Like call like
Yeah.
like kick Mexicans on the other side. It's like I endorse Donald Trump. Like make him the worst person ever. But like not right here. Not this line, dude. Like it's the worst. The worst.
And the problem is because when you're trying to create this sort of mercenary character who you want to be a likable villain, you have to decide why are they a villain? What about their actions make them villainous? Is it the super casual racism we see here? Is it the, you know, grossly manipulating very young women into thinking they will have a future with you? Is it you just murder a bunch of people by your own moral guidelines and or just for money? Like you have to pick where on the spectrum of villainy this character falls. And there are certain aspects that like I'm like, sure, I'm down with it.
Yeah.
I support women's wrongs. Like I love a
We
villain.
talk
I
about that
love
all the
them
time.
so
Yeah.
much. I love an anti-hero. I love a villain.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to be very clear on what are their lines and why. What's their motivation?
Yeah.
Here his motivation is manipulate a powerless young girl who doesn't know better into doing his bidding to take advantage of her. And if he happens to get his dick wet, fine. That's not cool with me.
No. No, dude, this is the line. And the other thing too, when you see this character, right, and you think about Slade and how he's introduced in the comic books as this Titans villain, first and foremost, right? He I think one of his kids gets killed and the Titans could have saved him, so he hates the Titans. I believe it. I could be getting this wrong. Again, comment down below if you know exactly. But it's like vaguely around there. So he has this like vendetta against not only teen heroes, child heroes, but like the Titans specifically. Um and so so you hate these motherfuckers so much that you're gonna fuck a child to get at them. Like, no, my dude, again, you're a villain. Man, we never talk about like again, a lot of stuff about Joker has been dropped in the past, right? Again, there was only Alan Moore hinted about what Joker did. And in the interviews post, it was like, hey, that's what we're implying. It was like, you implied, I didn't read that implication. I read that you just shot her and broke her spine and that you just beat up James Gordon. And that's where I'm going to leave it at that. Like, but that's not what I implied.
Yeah.
Don't care what you implied. That's how I read this comic book. There's no implication with Slade. He does this.
It's
So
explicit.
there is, yeah, it's explicit. So there, where you have the implication of Joker, your brain could be like, nope, nope, there's not enough evidence. I'm sorry. So, that's not my Joker. My Joker wouldn't do that. My Lex Luthor wouldn't do that. Yeah.
I
like,
love Lex Luthor so much.
There's so many other villains.
He's so horrible.
And yeah, again, we're talking about like monsters, right? In the DC universe.
Yeah.
And here's a fucking Slade.
People.
Here's Slade Wilson. And it was like, you're the worst. You're the worst. You're the biggest piece of shit here. And I want to bring something up to you, Sly, and this is going to be breaking news for you and me.
Okay.
Apparently, Terra's on her way back in the DC universe.
In this universe?
In this new rebirth universe, she is apparently on her way back.
Oh.
Yeah. As of 3 weeks ago.
They're doing Terra in Rebirth?
Yeah, and she's like, this is the Terra we've dealt with before. Her costume looks fucking phenomenal. But one of the alternate covers for issue 24 of Titans is her and Slade. And I want to die. I'm going to put it in the DC grads chat. It's a Reddit
Incredible.
link. And I you know, obviously we don't want to touch too much on this because we'll just keep going in circles talking about how horrible Slade is. But I want to pivot to the next part of it, because with this comes another issue that I found myself doing in my notes as well. And I don't know what issue 24 of Titans is going to do with this as well, right? Because I think this is going to be the overall sense. I already see it, you know, and just briefly looking at it, like, oh, you know, talking about her. Let's talk about the terror of it all, because we are shitting on Slade. But I found myself, because she's so angry at the Titans, right? I found myself so easily being like, wow, Terra's such a bitch. Wow, Terra's a horrible person. Terra this, Terra that. I'm like, wait.
I did that too. Where was it in my notes?
Dude, right? So you found yourself
You
doing
are
that.
awesome, Gar. She's just kind of a bitch right now.
And it's similar to Slade. Yeah, is that true? That can't be true. But as well, she's a victim. She is one of comic books'
and is
worst
the
victims.
Justified for the most part. Like, this is a traumatized young woman who is ripped from, you know, everything she knows and made to feel like this villainous person who is then infiltrating this group of misfits who immediately accept her, immediately try to bring her into the fold, and what that does to you mentally is so fucked up, because your brain is telling you they're manipulating me, they're trying to take advantage of me, they're lying to me, they don't actually want to get to know me, they just want to get to know me enough to use it against me. Is that what's happening? No, but that's the reality that Terra is living in. Especially in this movie. She is living in this reality that is so warped, but is so real to her, that her only defense is to kind of be a bitch about it. And she is. She's a massive bitch throughout this entire movie. However, most of it's justified, in my opinion.
It's weird. I sat with this movie after I watched it and Saturday. And I was sitting there and I was looking at my notes again when I was like uploading them to the doc. And I'm like, wow, I'm so angry when it comes to Terra. And even from jump, like the second we saw this last week, right? When they teased her up, I was like, fucking Terra, here we go. And I think it's the implication of the storyline that I hate this part of her storyline so much so that like she pops up. I'm like, I don't want to deal with this.
Because we make her entire story about the fucking man who took advantage of her.
Yes. And yeah. She doesn't get her story.
She doesn't get her own story. Right. Her story is so centered around Slade fucking Wilson that he is synonymous with her as a character. And I think that's the major problem, especially with this movie, is like, she is so unlikable and she is presented as such an antagonist to the people that we know and love and already have attachments to, that we don't have time during the runtime of this movie to process what she's been through and empathize with how she's reacting to the situation. And I think Terra is a brilliant character. I think she's horribly misused most of the time, except for, again, Teen Titans the show did a great job with it. Again, incredible job.
I don't even find her to be bitchy in that. Isn't that funny?
Right.
She actively is trying to kill them. Like, she's trying to kill the Titans and show Gar constantly, like, no, I am a bad guy. They play it up in Teen Titans Go, which is very funny, by the way. Ashley Johnson does a really good job of reprising her role. And she does, which is really funny that she's Ellie as well. Because, like, one of these, like, my brain is starting to break thinking about these two divisive characters that she plays. But
Mhm.
Teen Titans in general does a really good job of like I don't think about that version because it's
Right,
so
because
well
you can
done.
empathize with her as a
Hmm.
character and can see why she thinks she has to do what she's doing. And in this, maybe if we weren't so strongly looking at it through the lens of knowing what the original story was, we were able to distance a little bit, abstract a little bit from that. We might be able to empathize and connect with her a little bit more. But I don't think this movie does any quality job of setting her up in any way to give you enough to connect to empathize with. And I always thought that was like one of the most brilliant things about Terra as a character, because Teen Titans was my first introduction to her.
Hmm.
I was like, wow, this is very fucked up character, but I feel bad for her. Understand why she's doing what she's doing. And in this, I just see a bitchy girl who's being manipulated by an older man, and like I hate that that's happening to her, but also she's being awful to the people we already have these attachments with. And like while I can give her grace for that, I can't care about her as a character within the like what 70 minutes of this
That's the
movie.
yeah. It's such a short runtime for this specifically, and so it's such a nuanced storyline. Like the bones of it again. Them fighting Hive, Brother Blood, really well done. Great for 70 minutes. Them even
Yeah,
fighting
absolutely.
Slade and the having a mole on the inside and that family dynamic being betrayed. Again, great. All that could fit in the 70 minutes, but then you add this one aspect and it just completely takes everything over. I even found like there's a note near the end when she seamlessly passes away. Again, we don't see a body. We don't see Slade's body too. We see fucking Brother Blood fucking eat it by Mother Mayhem and then get crushed. I'm like, wow, we saw that motherfucker die. Um
Yeah.
I'm like there's a there's a whole super super small plot like a F plot of Beast Boy going to Kevin Smith's podcast, which would be funny because at this time it would be
I
Fat Man
love
on Batman,
that. That was incredible.
which still probably could be Fat Man on Batman technically in this universe. He just
Yeah.
This is a dude talking about Batman that also makes movies, which is weird. Um, but you have Gar going on there. He's talking about it, and then they're like, "Oh, what about your new member?" And it's a cute little tease of who we get at the end. We see Donna Troy, like this versus Donna Troy, who's younger. Like, so we get a Wonder Girl who's younger. It's all this other stuff, which is fun.
Mhm.
It's a fun play on what's going on in this
I
universe.
like when Donna and Gar especially are a little bit more equal in the age range.
Oh,
I think they play off each other really fun.
yes. Yeah.
Um, Another like E or F plot we have throughout the movie that I thought was phenomenal and I wish they gave more time to breathe is our favorite, our
Mm,
beloved. Jaime was
mm,
incredible. This story about his relationship with his family and his parents, the video call we get where his dad's kind of
ooh.
distant and there's tension there,
Yeah.
and he's just trying to desperately find a way to connect back with his family while working with the beetle and his volunteering and what that means for him, and their
Yeah. Finding
their
Tracy
reconnection at the
13 and like,
end.
kind of like
Yeah.
having a thing for her.
And, like, if we didn't have the whole Slade Wilson of it all, that and Gar's storylines could have had way more room to breathe. And I think my biggest disappointment with this movie is there was so much good, so much potential, and so much that could have had more room to breathe, but we spent, like, an hour talking about Slade fucking Wilson.
Again, yeah. Talking about this. What's that New Girls thing? It was like, this person did a bad thing. What was it? What did they do? Nothing. Why? Because he's a white man. No. you know, God damn it. It's so funny
Fucking
to think
white
about
man.
that. But yeah, Gar has this beautiful speech, and then again they tee up. It's Donna Troy, so it's like a cute little thing. He's like, "Oh no, we're talking about
Yeah.
Tara," and then Kevin's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, is that too soon for you, Gar?" And he's like, "No, no, no. Like, I want to talk about it, and has this really beautiful speech. But then
This
he
is
calls her a
beautiful
hero,
speech.
and
Yeah.
my initial reaction was, I wrote it down. I was like, no, she wasn't. When she found out she wasn't getting dick, she became a hero. I was like, what the fuck are you saying,
Mm.
Gar? And then immediately afterwards, like again." like uploading this to the doc, I was like, wow, what a fucked up thing for me to write. And I was like,
Right.
but that's my initial thought, and that's what the storyline has provided me. I'm like, man, what's that say? Like, there's a commentary here of how we view women, right? Who've been through something so
Yeah.
traumatic. Like, I was like, wow,
And we
even
instantly villainize them because
yeah,
that's the model that all of our narrative structures have provided
mm-hmm,
for ever.
yeah,
When every single version of a story we see has the same narrative structure of villainizing these women who have been victimized, that is our gut instinct. And I love that we get to do the show because, we have both had very similar gut reactions that we're not
yeah,
proud of. And then we sat with it and we can come here and think critically about this movie and talk about it and say, like, there was so much good here, but when you are feeding in to harmful story tropes and reinforcing them, your audience is reacting in a way that will make them feel uncomfortable. And then when we
mm-hmm,
sit with it, then that uncomfortability is directly related to your film. Like, if you asked me 2 hours ago if I wanted to rewatch this, I would have said hell no.
yeah,
I had a little bit of time to decompress, process, think through why it was making me feel like shit, and maybe I'll revisit in the future. Who knows? But again, it's just feeding into a classic narrative structure, an easy trope to do, but also you had the chance to iterate
mm-hmm,
and to do better. And I feel like we just didn't have the right people in the room to notice that that's the tone the story was taking and do literally anything about
yeah,
it.
yeah. That's the very frustrating thing when it comes to that because this is why media literacy is the thing. We talk about it on our episodes. Like, this
Right.
is very important because, like, is Terra a villain? Yes. Is
Oh,
she
hmm.
also a victim?
Undoubtedly.
100%
Correct.
also true. They're
Yeah,
both
absolutely.
100% true in this aspect. Does she have a heroic moment at the end? That's why I would say, like, you don't technically get to call her a hero because she only, like, she feels, but I don't think she's helping the Titans technically at the end. I think Gar specifically, but not the rest of the
And if you
team.
asked Tara, she wouldn't say she's a hero. And I
Hmm.
think it says more about Gar and his
Yes.
perspective on humanity as somebody who is, experiences the worst of
Hmm.
humanity and still finds a way to see the best in people. And I think if it had come from literally anyone else, I think I would have felt worse about it. But it's Gar. Like, that's who he is.
Yeah.
He is going to see that she made the right choice when it mattered, and to him that makes a hero.
Yeah. And
Does it
where
make it to anybody else? No. Does it make it
true.
to Tara herself? Absolutely not. She
Yeah.
still thinks she's the villain. Like,
Exactly. And that's the thing too. Like, writing this, what I wrote, I think part of it could still could be true. Like being upset about him calling her a hero because she only has a
mhm.
heroic moment in my eyes. But like, that's not necessarily like the worst thing. But my line about, like, again, she's a victim here, and it goes like out of my brain because the storyline is so toxic and so, again, we spent most of an hour talking about Slade fucking Wilson, not anything else, not Brother Blood, not, Dick and Corey's relationship. Well, we're going to do that as a palate cleanser in a very moment. Thank God, because we need it. But it is interesting that afterwards, seeing my notes, I'm like, yeah, dude, she's a victim though. Like, and I would like a piece of media that discusses this. Who knows? Again, I just seen these covers of Titans number 24, coming out, I guess, very soon. In DC Rebirth storyline, or, post, whatever's going on now and whatever they're calling this era of DC Comics. But in main continuity, she's coming back. Who knows what that storyline's like? I don't know what the solicits are for that month. I don't know what, the idea of who's writing that. That had to be controversial. How do you bring that up? Like,
Right.
even someone like, oh yeah, we can make money, but still in the back of your head, you'd be like, we're gonna piss people off, man. And that's the thing. I think a lot of us would be like, oh, she's a villain. Why are you bringing her back? Or like, she's one of the worst things in Titans. It'd be like, think about what you're saying, because that was my initial thought. And then it's like, now there's a fucking thin line with this storyline that they're going to do with this comic book. Again, I don't know what the storyline is going to be coming out. It's not out yet. Again, I didn't read what the issues like preview is.
Mm-hmm.
You have a thin line with this fucking storyline right here, and you have an opportunity to do something in showing her as a victim and rectifying her past.
Written by a woman? Probably not.
Probably not. Yeah, most likely not. Or is there anyone in, is there anything in the room
in conversation?
Yeah. It's just you have a really important thing to do, I think, with Terra and this storyline. And I think this is something we could retroactively fix. You have a chance. You have a chance to like kind of full circle this whole storyline. Again, you can't take away what happened to her and what she did and what Slade did to her. But we have a chance to rectify everything.
To reclaim what his role in her storyline is.
Mm-hmm.
And you can, again, I think there's ways that you can do it well. And I will be cautiously optimistic.
Yeah.
Heavily skeptical. But, I'm excited to see what they do. And hopefully they tell the story of our dreams, and it's everything we hope for.
Let's fucking hope so. And I pray to God that whoever's writing this, I hope your favorite fucking cartoon was Teen Titans and the aughts.
Yeah.
I hope that was your favorite cartoon, because
if it's not, it in every week.
I'm fucking staring at you with daggers already. You gotta earn this shit back. All right, let's palate cleanse again. Very, very good and needed discussion. But let's palate cleanse with this. I had an interesting thing that you highlighted and you wrote in for our next section, our final section of the Andrea Romano Roundup.
As I was reading this, I saw one that immediately jumped at me. So is, what's the percentage of people shipping Babs and Dick versus Corey and Dick? So I did a quick little search on archiveofourown.org.
Very valuable source. Honestly, swear to God, actually, that really works.
Because I wanted to see how many fics we have with the canonical tag of the relationships between each of them. And honestly, it's very close. For Babs and Dick, we have 3,001 fanfictions. And for Dick/Corey, we have 3,559.
Oh, okay.
So 558 fic differentials there, which it's pretty close in my opinion. Like that is impressively close. Let me see, what are the most common fandoms on each. So 1,119 of those on the Dick and Corey are tagged. The fandom is Teen Titans animated series.
Oh, okay.
Which makes sense. And if we go to Babs and Dick, the top fandom is Batman all media types, which usually leads a little more comics heavy, and that is 1,843. So, and the second actually is Batman comics at 912.
Okay.
So when you are looking at comics, people heavily prefer Babs, and when you are looking at Teen Titans animated and comics, they lean heavily Corey.
What an interesting, I think, and that shows too, right? Like what you're what you grew up with, what you're consuming, because I my brain automatically does, because I grew up with comics so early, my brain
Mhm.
always goes to. Like I do love Corey and Dick's relationship, and I think it could work as well. Like I could see it, but I always ship Babs and Dick. That's just in my head, just makes sense.
Yeah. It's funny to me because in my brain, Starfire and Coriander are two very different people. Because
Oh yeah, fair.
Starfire is Teen Titans animated series, and Coriander or Corey is comics. I think the Outlaws series. Like that's my like when I think of Corey, that's
Very
my
fair.
reference point. Um and that's a very fun throuple. But speaking of thruples, I did look up Bab/Dick/Corey. Not that you wanted to know. Um,
Yeah.
but it does appear on 41 Works.
I was like, it's 5,000. I'm like, Jesus.
And there were 5 different canonicals. So like official tags
Okay.
that include all 3 of them, and the other 4 include other people. Would you like to hear all of the random ships they're in?
I kind of do. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay. Bab/Dick/Corey/Kara Zor-El, 1 fic.
Let's see it.
Bab/Dick/Corey/Wally West, 5 fics.
See it. Hmm.
Bab/Dick/Corey/Zatanna,
Oh shit.
1 work. I
Yeah.
don't have to read that. Hold on, let me open that in a new tab. Okay. And then this is a long one. Bab/Dick/Roy/Corey/Wally/Zatanna.
Jesus Christ.
1 work.
I don't know
What
why
is?
in my brain I was thinking with the Carzorel and Corey
Mm-hmm.
and Babs and Dick. I was like, man, poor Dick Grayson's pelvis. What a the death by snoo snoo.
Yeah, valid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how he wants to go too, probably. Good for him.
Yeah,
Good
I
for him.
think that's his dream death.
Yeah, it was like, oh,
Actually, I have to read you the summary of that fic because I think it went
sure.
a little different than we both anticipated.
Oh,
It reads Barbara Gordon meets Coriander and receives a sexual awakening.
oh shit. I get it. It's Corey though, like it makes sense. This alien
Yeah.
fucking goddess comes down
Uh-huh.
from heaven.
Yeah. I've read a lot of okay, I'm outing myself a little too aggressively. Um I have read and or seen a lot of fics where Corey has weird alien sex toys. So
Yeah,
I'm just saying Tamaranians fuck.
yeah, 100%. They're hedonistic. Like, can do we? It's like, can this be true? And also, this be true? Yes, 100%. I
Mhm.
can
Mhm.
see like them being, hey, we kill people, we'll enslave people as well. We fuck a
Mhm.
lot at the same
We fuck.
time.
Yeah.
When
I
we're not
mean,
doing
we
this, we're doing
had
that.
we didn't talk about the kiss at the beginning of this episode. The 5 years
Oh,
prior moment.
yeah.
Um Which my favorite thing about that is right after it, um, was it Wally and Gar? Who were the 2 of the boys made comments. I can't remember who they
Oh,
were at this point.
it was Roy and
It
Wally.
was it was Roy Wally. Of course it was
Yeah,
fucking Roy Wally.
yeah.
I don't know what I was expecting. But my first note was um oh, what? I'm so confused at my notes. Anyways, my note from that was, are they really saying that like Dick doesn't probably know like 6 languages?
Yep. Like he
What do
knows
you
all of
mean?
them, and he had to while he was physically
Yeah,
fighting Batman.
age of 5 or
Yeah.
whatever.
Like Alfred's in the background. Like, gotta practice your French right now. It's like, really? Right now? It's like, yeah.
Yeah, you got to brush up on your Arabic, Master Dick.
For some reason, we're always over there. For some reason,
Mhm.
Bruce is always over there. He's meeting this one girl. I don't know, man.
I wonder
Yeah, I know.
why.
It's so weird.
What's the Middle East that's so tempting?
Hey, you're not a president, and it's not oil, or other resources. All right, that was fun. Any notes you want to touch upon, before we move on to the next segment?
No, my last three notes are boo hiss, which was the start. I think that was the scene where she walked in the lingerie.
Oh yeah.
And then I quoted somebody who said, "There's something the humans call sexual attraction."
Oh,
Don't remember the context.
that's Jaime.
Of course it
Because
was.
the beetle is like,
Oh, when the beetle was freaking out because his heart rate was elevated. Oh, that was
like,
so iconic.
it's okay.
That was such
It's
a good
okay
scene.
that
I
my
can't
heart
believe
rate's
I
going
forgot
up.
about.
It's all right. Yeah, it was great.
And then my final note for the entire movie was "ew, gross."
Probably something, unfortunately, with Slade fucking
And it
Wilson.
was, yeah, it was fucking Slade and Tara, unfortunately. And then I said, you know what? I'm just gonna not take notes on this one.
Yeah, don't blame you. One of my early ones, I didn't write it in the beginning, but I thought I wrote it at the end because you see him in the end credit scene. Was there's a blonde gentleman with really curly hair, and he gets shot in the head after he gets like all these superpowers to see if it works. And then you see him come back at the end, and he's got his green eyes, and I was like, oh, that is Jericho. Hey, Jericho's
Yeah.
here. I was like, cool. Like, oh, thank God your dad's dead. Hopefully. Um, we'll see. I love all the sexual jokes between Nightwing and Starfire. They're so horny for
Oh
each
yeah,
other.
they were having a great time.
Yeah.
They were moving in together.
There's always
The
that
feeling
scene that
about
DC
the
plays.
training.
Yeah. He's like, really? In front of the children? What would they think? It's like, what? No. She does a good job of like messing with them. I did love the Easter egg. I don't know if you noticed it. The like company that does all the soup kitchens or whatever that Jaime volunteers near Titan's Tower is called Gabriel's Horn, which is a character in DC comic Gabriel who gets Gabriel's horn and becomes Vox, or there's different names he has, but we've seen him. He's in Young Justice. He's a character in that as well. He's very like obscure. I don't want to say minute like Titans character, but he's married to Bumblebee in the comics. So that's nice.
That's
I saw that. I was like, oh, that's cool. Ace, Raven, gifts.
We did get Ace. Raven.
She brings Ace.
Raven brought Ace.
I was so happy.
Shit. It was so good. Yeah. No, that was great. That was the end cap I needed for this movie.
Yeah.
We got Ace.
I needed happiness.
We got Raven.
Yeah.
We got a little bit of softness from Damien for once. It was perfect.
Now give me Bat Cow, and I will be so happy. I'll be so fucking happy.
Cow and something someday.
They got some cool costumes. His Robin costume was really cool. He had the elbow pads, which it was like it felt when you see like a lot of Batman costumes, right? They, especially the ones in this universe, like they're very high tech looking, or like they have rivets and stuff. Like they seems like very form fitting. Even his Nightwing costume, and now his new red black one, his new 52 inspired one. But seeing the first like Nightwing costume, it seems so put together. Like almost like he put it together. So he's like, oh, I'm gonna need elbow pads, I'm gonna need this, I'm gonna need, but it has like that Robin flair to it, like the greens and the yellows.
His first time trying to go out on his own.
Yeah, it's true.
You know?
I did like it. Yeah, that's all I had really. And then there was a funny joke about who keeps putting H's, giant H rims on Hives. Like, you're not discreet, dude, like at all. Also, Brother Blood, really hot.
Oh yeah,
super hot.
So hot. For what?
Yeah, I know. I was like, why? Why are you so hot? All right. So
I get that they were probably trying to play into the charismatic leader cult vibes.
I get it.
Which is like, very common.
Unfortunately, a lot of dudes are
but also
attractive.
I was like, that was like, yeah, aggressively attractive for the villain in this
like way
movie.
too hot. It's like way too hot. It was like, you're gonna hate Slade. We'll give you some eye candy on this one. Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. Moving on, let's go to drama class, one of the holdovers from MC University, and one of my favorite parts. Funny enough, all these have dick in them, and most of them are a dick in Starfire, because DC social media, of course, every time we get close to an episode, if you're on their socials or YouTube, they will post a scene of a movie, and I guarantee you we're going to cover that movie in either 1 to 2 weeks. Like of when that
Every
scene, like
time.
we are recording that episode either that week or the week after when you see that post. So that's a good way of knowing what, I don't know how it's happening, but it's every fucking time. It's every goddamn time we do one of these.
Spreadsheet is visible by anybody on the internet, so
Who
I
the
just want to know
fuck is
who
on there?
leaked that to them
Yeah.
and who's keeping
Also,
up
get us
with
a sponsorship with DC specifically.
Right.
I know they're owned by Warner Brothers, and we shit on Warner Brothers every episode.
Right.
But like that,
we love you, DC.
We love DC. We love Warner Brothers properties.
We also love your social media.
Yes.
Team. We love them.
We like a lot of stuff that happens on Max. I love the Pit.
Right.
You know, if you want to watch AEW and be angry at wrestling, hey, you can watch that on there. If you want, hockey's on there. You can watch hockey, right? I think that's still a thing.
Hockey is on there.
So there you go.
Sometimes it depends on the contract. Some of it's TNT, some of it's ESPN, some of it's Max.
Yeah. So there you go. Boom.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay. Do you want to be Dick for all three?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Let you keep a consistent character for one. Yeah. All right. Corey, I love her so much.
I know.
You did very well. You lasted far longer this time.
I
meant in training, of course. He's very proficient when we have
Corey. I wonder if she was just like, because they do play up like the alien aspect of her, but I think she was messing with him. Like I was wondering to see how if he was gonna stop her at any point, or was she being very blunt?
Like where they put the line of that is because like she's assimilated. She, she's been around for a while. Especially now, like she's the leader of the team. She's been on Earth for 5+ years. Like she knows what she's doing. What is her like playing it up, and what is her just like unthinking? Is the question.
Yeah,
I love her.
Yeah, I love her to death. All right, next one. How about that move you taught me last weekend?
Now, I admire your boldness. But what will the team think?
Love it. I love it so much. She puts them at odds. Like she like throws them off every time, and I just love it. That's why I like too. Like Dick needs somebody like that.
Dick needs to be on the back foot more often.
Yeah, exactly.
Corey often puts him there.
Yeah, that's why I think Selene is a better partner than Talia for Batman, because she does that to him. I'm like, yeah, do that.
Mm-hmm.
Talia
just steals his
DNA and makes babies, and then tries to kill the world because he won't love her.
All right. Damien takes down a bunch of fucking villains. They prepared well. Their reaction time is much better.
Robin, stop complimenting the bad guys.
That was one of my favorite Damien lines of this whole thing. It was so good. Like, this is why I like Damien. He's a lovable asshole.
I know.
Complimenting the villains. That's so funny. Let him be funny. Shout
out to PlayStation Source. There's a Discord for our friend Kevin Diaz over there, and I posted our the Teen Titans episode, the other one, Justice League versus Giants, and one of the people on there was like, "God, I hate Damien so much. He's such a dick." I'm like, he is a dick, and I love him. Both are true. He is an asshole, but moving on to quiz time. I got nothing this week, and it's fine. We talked at length of how horrible Slade fucking Wilson is. I'm cool with not having a quiz time this week. I don't give a shit. The Gabriel Horn thing, that's the quiz. Hey, and guess what his name is? Fox. Okay, cool, done. We talked at length of this movie because it's very good. It's a really good conversation I feel we had with this one. But in homeroom, final thoughts live on this movie.
I don't think I recommend this one. I think you can skip this one. I think if you want the storyline, go watch this arc. I think it's like a half season of the Teen Titans animated show.
Yeah.
They do a great job with it. It might be a full season. Did Terra get a full season?
I
don't know. I haven't watched it since I was like 8 years old.
It's been a long time for me as well. for me, I could see myself rewatching this, but I will once I get to that moment again, I think I would get just as angry. But I would like to
Mhm.
rewatch it, not immediately. I need some time away from it. But with the, revelation I had after, looking at my notes and being like, yeah, man, dude, like I want to see it because again, that's not a thought process they were writing in this movie, right? It would be
Right.
a very interesting way to see if that was like a think piece they were trying to have you do at the end. It still
Mhm.
wouldn't justify the storyline. It still wouldn't justify the
Right.
choices made. But if there was thought put into it, and at the end of this, you
Mhm.
thought you had that moment where you want to think about it, I think that would have been a really interesting thing to do. I think if you do this storyline ever again in like a movie format or anything like that, I think you put content warnings. I think
Mhm.
you don't cross the line, even if it's emotional manipulation. It's still gross, especially coming from someone with
Right.
such higher power as Slade does. I think it's unnecessary. You can again, you go so far, and it's mind you, still gross to even talk about. You can go so far, and if it just stopped at Tara putting her arm around him in lingerie as a child, and him being like, "Fucking no, dude, that's gross." This movie would have been 10 times better. You know,
Yeah. I
if
think I
that the
need
whole
to
lingerie thing
revisit
wasn't even put
this.
in, it'd be 100
Right.
times better. But like
Mhm.
with that context, I think there's something interesting here, and something that just popped in my mind, like when talking about like difficult things that happen in real life. I think showing the victim side of that more would be an interesting way to turn this around. But again,
Yeah, let her tell her own story. Don't
exactly,
tell it through Slade.
yeah, and this is unfortunately if anyone's a big horror fan and somehow missed this movie. And spoiler warning, I'm talking about Nia DaCosta's Candyman that recently came out
Mm.
a few years back. That movie recontextualizes the villain that is Candyman and to make him like a more racial, that there were many Candymen, people who've been wronged, black men who've been wronged by society, and they kind of become this like monster for like the universe. They because of what happened to them, they be enforce like violence against other people and stuff like that. This is a beautiful thing that happens at the end though, if you're a fan of the movie. He has a line typically like, "Be my victim," when he's like trying to
Mhm.
entice you to say Candyman more and like do all this stuff. Instead, he has this line and he looks at the camera at the character and says, "Tell my story." And that moment, the whole
Mhm.
movie in general was very brilliant. Mia DaCosta does a great job of that. But that moment recontextualized like the whole first ever movie, the Clive Barker adaptation, and then this being the direct sequel. And my brain blew. And then by the end of the credits, I was just sitting there with I'm getting
Mhm.
goosebumps thinking about it right now. Um, I was sitting there with my thoughts, and similar to this, I was looking at like I was just thinking, and then there's this beautiful link for a different discussion pieces with Coleman Domingo, who was a star in the movie at the time. Oh, wait, I mean he's a star in general, but he's bigger star now. But he was in this movie, one of the first films I saw him in. Um, and he has like a round sit down with different artists and writers and things, and they talk about the recontextualization of what happens in this movie with the Candyman storyline, and they share art, and there's this beautiful link that I saved and I have a bookmark of all these different like PDFs of like storylines and things like that, and people talking about what this means now. If there was
Mhm.
something like that, some kind of guide, or we see it so many times in media, most recently in video games. Me and Mario both played Silent Hill 2. There's a huge content warning, in the very beginning, and at the end in the credits as well. If I believe I was correct. I was again sitting with my thoughts, and I was more sad than anything because it's a very sad game. But dealing with hurting yourself, harm,
Mhm.
thoughts of suicide and things like that, and the very heavy themes that this game has. There's warnings before the game starts. Every time you pop, you turn it on, there's a warning. You have to get
Mhm.
past it to even start the game to continue to load everything. And then I believe in the credits there was also a warning. If there was something like that, ever so slightly
Mhm.
for this movie, I think it would also have helped. Like
Right.
understanding the
Them
fact that
acknowledging
yes, this
the
story and
weight of the story they're
yes,
telling.
it is such a flippant like this happened to her. Now she's a villain. Da, da,
Yeah.
da, 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 da,
Yeah, I think I need to revisit this movie in about 6 months with a strong drink, and every time Slade Wilson grosses me out, I take a drink.
You're gonna
And
be
I think
dead.
that's how
No,
I
that's not how you exit Point of Progress. You
Yeah.
can't die. You can't do that.
Um I think we should do a bonus episode revisiting this at the in a while.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think we
I
should
think
come
maybe
back to
at the
this
end of the
one.
series, and then maybe as well we
Mhm.
can we'll buy the storyline, buy the
Mhm.
trade
Oh,
and kind
the
of
rebirth.
and read it as
Yeah.
well, maybe to see,
Mhm.
and by
Mhm.
that time, whatever this fucking storyline is with Terra, it's gonna play out. And I can tell you from the description, because I was reading as we were talking of this issue, and we are not talking about the heavy facts of what happened to her. She's like, hey, this terrifying villain of ground shaking proportion is coming back. And I was like, guys, again,
Mm,
that's cool if she's also not a victim of what happened to her. Like,
right.
and if you're bringing back this old villain, like, oh shit, man, we haven't seen this person in a long time, and man, they heard the Titans back in the day. Oh, I'm down. That's cool. It's been years since this character's been around. Yeah, let's see how you do this storyline. I'm so cautious of the storyline and how it's gonna play out. It's gonna be oof, very weird. But
Mhm.
that's our discussion of 2017's Teen Titans to Judas contract. Again, I think it's a very good episode. It's a heavy episode, but it was. I think we did
Mhm.
a good job of touching on the subjects of what happened in this movie. Your homework for next week is the complete opposite of this movie. Where this one was like, hey, this is a fun movie, and it has like, Slade Wilson. This is like, hey, this is a fun movie, and it's just balls to the wall, fucking crazy. Talk about 2018
Mhm.
Suicide Squad, Hell to Pay. Before we head out, Sly, where can people find
Yeah.
you?
You can find me most places on the internet at MC. You can find me on TikTok Lives every Sunday with JJ, talking about all things network television, 911, Dr. Odyssey. Um, I see. Oh, by the time this comes out, it'll be so irrelevant. But as of recording next week, we're talking about at least I'm talking about the end of Matlock, which is the new remake
Oh,
of the
is it
old
good?
show. So yeah,
Okay.
we'll talk about it off
Yeah.
air.
Hell yeah.
But
Hell
yeah,
yeah. My friend saw like the first two
yeah.
episodes, was like, I really like it. And I was like, oh shit. I was
Mhm.
like, do you watch more? She's like, no. She just time wise, she just like, I'm playing Boulder Game. I'm like, God damn it, didn't you beat that game already?
And you can find me on Storygraph at Cyclone if you want to see me reading all of Poison Ivy 2022. It was
Yeah.
very good. Very incredible.
Oh,
Highly
see, that's
recommend.
scary if they have comic books on there, because that might get my ass to sign up for that too. Shit. That reminds me though, I
You
do have to
should.
tell Tara to sign up for that. Now there's a little more free
Yes, you
time in
do.
our lives. We're not so stressful as of these past couple months. There's more time, I think, to read. Yeah, for me, you can find me here, youtube.com/point in progress, where we have a bunch of cool things I'm really happy about our recent run of DC grads. Of course, I'm really proud of the show. We do a really good job, especially this episode. I think this is going to be another highlight, like similar to the one we had with JJ and Superman Unbound. I'm really happy about that
Mhm.
episode. I think there's a really interesting
Yeah.
discussion on that episode if you go back, and it doesn't get like looking at the numbers like that episode needs some more love, man, because there's some cool ass discussions we had
Mhm.
about the diaspora being Kryptonian, and Clark being on this
Yeah.
earth, or similar to the
I loved that
storyline.
episode. It was
A
one of my
good
favorites.
fucking good
Yeah,
one,
for sure.
man. I look back at
Mhm.
the numbers like, you fucking heathens. You don't know what good shit's. You just want to hear us laugh and make jokes about fucking Teen Titans. Go fuck yourself. When we're talking real shit here, and Superman
Hell
about.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, as well, we have a really cool episode we did. We got early access to the first two episodes of a horror documentary series that showcases horror video games and their history within the gaming space. It's called Terabytes. We got access to the pre-release of the first two episodes. So me, Frank, and Fee sat down because we're big horror game fans, horror fans in general, but horror game fans specifically. And we talked about our experiences with both horror games and specifically watching these two episodes of the doc. We got a lot of love for that episode too from the director. who gave us like a really nice, beautiful email. I saved that motherfucker. I was like,
Very nice
save.
email. I saw
Yeah.
that.
I was
I
like, oh
went
shit,
through
you
that
actually
entire
wrote it.
email. It was gorgeous.
Yeah. We have that going there. And then yeah, very soon I should start recording. I beat a couple games in between, so now I think I'm ready to go back to the Remedyverse. So I'm touching my PlayStation like motherfuckers can watch it. It's right here. It's right off screen. I'm gonna be jumping into the world of Control with it's not a loop, it's a Control. It's season 3 of our Remedyverse playthrough series here at Pip. And then yeah, you can find me at youtube.com/nerdyday as well. Every once in a while there's breaking news. We'll talk about it. I didn't talk about the tariffs, but I broke down the Switch 2 news, and then the next day it was like, hey, here's more news. The world's on fire. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And not just regular fire. The
Lit on
gaming
fire.
universe
There's
is on
only
fire.
so
It's like,
much we
oh.
can
I
do.
was like,
Yeah.
I don't want to do this. This is why I
Yeah.
didn't talk about Bethesda and Microsoft and Activision because there's lawsuits, and I was like, I don't want to do
Right.
this. I'm taking a year off.
We want to talk about the fun stuff. And
Yeah.
we're already living through the horrors. We don't want to make the horrors our content.
Yeah, I don't want to
You
talk
know?
about $700 Switch 2. God, no. No one wants to talk about it, okay? All right. But yeah, till next time, class is dismissed.
Bye.